so hard not to dance that intro.
You just are like almost cutting a rug in your chair when
I
the intro
don't
comes
know
on.
what it is about that music, and I said I wasn't sold on that intro. I mean, we may work it out again in the future, but that music, the music's staying. I don't care about that. Welcome everybody to Around the Basket 16
Yes.
here live on Patreon. If you subscribe to our Patreon, welcome. Thank you for subscribing.
hmm
I'm Daryl, co-host of the Chain Out podcast. You may know me from that. Also, I'm joined by this guy over here, Chuckles. Jeremy, how are you doing?
Doing well. I was like, you. It's so you may know him from the Chain Out podcast,
You
or
may know me.
possibly from the Edmonton Disc Golf Association.
Exactly.
Not only is he the president of the company, he's also a client. I think is that how it went?
Something like that.
Yeah, there you go. Well, welcome everybody. It's good to have you here. Yeah, you were talking about that music, and to think when Daryl had created the original intro, a little behind the scenes for our ATB members, there were 6 versions, and they were all pretty much well. There was different things to them, but they also all had different music,
Yeah.
and I think that's what sold me was the music on it.
I think I did say to you that we could change the music, put it on, if you like the intro but not the music, you like the music from this one. They were interchangeable.
Yeah.
But
But that's the way it went. And another thing too is, you guys know one of our good friends, a disc golfer, is Mark Thompson. He had a great idea, and we're workshopping it.
I'm working on it.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
want? We can share a little bit
We can
about it.
share it.
See
Yeah.
if anybody has any
And
ideas of what they want to see in there.
and this was the thing that, you've got to be on two sides of the coin to see both sides, right?
Yes.
Is that a saying? Is that
You got to be on. Go to the other side of the fence. Maybe.
Is that a bit like quenching the beast?
Yes. Quenching the beast.
Um,
That's going to be in those lists of only chain out isms when it's
exactly.
like horse feeders.
Right.
Daryl quenching the beast.
We only see the podcast from this side of the camera. So we say we finish chain out. We're like, yeah, thanks everybody. We'll be back in 15 minutes. We hit end. And then we quickly run for a bathroom break. We grab some water. We come back.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready? Yeah, let's go live. And we go live again. But we don't realize that hopefully, there's people sitting there waiting for the next podcast to start.
Right.
So there's like a 10, 15 minute blank that you're just staring at a screen. So what we're going to try and do is as soon as we finish the Chain Out podcast, we're going to go instantly live. It'll still be the same. There'll be a separate link because we want to keep it unlisted for the Patreon subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
But just like I can run the intro with a touch of a button,
Yes,
I'm going to try and put together a 10, 15 minute compilation, funpilation.
Yes,
Of all the clips of previous Chain Out episodes, just so that there's a 15-minute, because I can put it on for 15, and if we're back in 10 minutes, I can just cut it and come in early. But just so that there is not a dead air, and that you guys all don't think that we're done and then leave us and not stick around.
Yeah.
So that's something we're working on.
And you might be able to see a couple of deep cuts in that, but I think once we get that one established, it's taking Daryl a lot of work to get it done. So it'll be out there for a while. Don't expect a new one every week.
It's hard because I have to go back through the episodes and try and find the fun bits.
It's the whole episode. It's like, how do you choose which fun bit to put in there? Is that what it is?
To try and narrow it down. Yeah.
If you watched our last episode, we had Sophia Donica on the show. We brought her on and she was with us for about 20, 30 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm.
And that was about probably all the time. I can't believe she had the time for us because it was like a quick minute. And then she was heading back down to Texas to get on the tour again.
I was going to bring it up in the Chain Out episode that it was almost a juxtaposition of this episode to last episode where if you didn't watch this episode of a Chain Out podcast, episode 69, go back and watch it with Kat Johnson, who you commended for her organization and her admin skills. And we had Sophia on, who was basically putting the laundry in the dryer as we were speaking, and she hadn't scheduled all her tour yet.
Yeah.
She hadn't booked flights and everything else. So kind of, two ends of the disc golf spectrum.
Well, and I think when we talked to Kat too, she's been playing for quite a bit and competing for quite a bit, right? So she's kind of used to and had a chance to organize it, where Sophia's really had a very, very quick rise to fame. I think she's still just hanging on to the back of that flying unicorn as tight as she can, because it's just rocketing her across the rainbow and over to, I don't know where this one is. going, but you know what I mean.
I know what
She's
you
had a
mean.
quick rise to fame, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But she did tell us about her time in New Zealand. It sounded like she really enjoyed that and had a great time. And then also we talked a little bit about her experience at the Supreme Flight Open. We did our first ever live product review, and that was of that Disc in the Dark Halo light that Brendan was kind enough to let us try out. And I
Yes,
think
Halo Red.
overall, when we got to the end of it, I decided one's going into my bag, and I think you don't play enough glow to necessarily put it in there.
Yeah, exactly. And we mentioned it last week as well that I did build a glow bag.
Right.
So I have something already in place that lights up multiple discs at once, and it was just something that I had. So yeah.
Yeah. And then we did our or what else did we do? Oh, I had the Brixton mail call from Mildo
Right.
Discs.
Yeah.
And we took a look at that. And as we went through, there was a Matty O card in there. And we got that Matty O card to go over for
Sounds
Sam.
like an Irish guy. Miles of discs.
Miles Ladder from Miles O Discs. There you go. But yeah, we had a Matty O card there that's going to still get to you, Sam, as soon as I see you next. I was able to see.
Maybe you could drop it off to him at Rundle. Oh no, wait, you're not going to Rundle League.
Oh no. But I would drop it off I dropped off Tim Plomondon's Nate Sexton finally.
Yeah.
He was pretty excited to see that when we saw him at the course on,
Yeah,
and
that
on
was
the weekend.
a great opportunity.
Yeah. So it was good. I was going to say that we're still sitting strong we are still sitting strong at 18 Patreon members. And I was going to say 348 YouTube subscribers. But after today's post and everybody got a good look at what our prize pack was,
Yeah.
where are we at now, Daryl?
Let's do a running total. This is where we spin the.
Did you just see what I saw?
That's why I wanted to do a quick spin because we were at 348.
Yes.
The last time I looked, we were at 357.
And now we're at
364.
Wow. High five. Thank you,
Sorry.
everybody. We appreciate your support. We've got this great prize pack that we
I knew those subscribers were out there.
They were waiting. They just needed the right opportunity, and we provided it. So we've got a great Prodigy disc bag for you. We've got 3 discs, including an Edga stamped pig. We've got a Hobson Heiser warship, which we found out. I think I said it was from the U.S., but it's actually from Ontario. And
is it?
Yep, that's where Mark got it from. He brought it back from his Ontario trip, is where that one came from.
Oh, I thought he got it from his Texas trip.
No, it was from Ontario. And then the third disc is the Dina Dyes disc, custom dyed Brave for us.
64 Brave, yeah.
Yeah. And then you got our custom wooden chain out mini from Kevin Topping of Redhead Woodworking. And then we have Mike Carey supplied us with some birdie beads that he makes.
And the R Pro Pig.
Yeah. And then the goat towel as well.
Yeah.
So, man.
And we'll throw in some stickers as well.
Yeah. So we're going to leave that one open until March 31st for you to get in. You can only put your name in once. But if you want to, tag more people so that they could possibly be part of it as well and share the love, we'd appreciate that.
I don't know if Sam heard that, but there's a warship in the giveaway, Sam. And I know you like West Side Discs. So,
yes.
Sam's saying that you can drop it off at the dog rump next week, but next week's kind of a bit of a write-off. So
yeah, I guess it will be. We'll see. I don't even know.
Second winter's here.
We are in the podcast studio right now, Sam. So you can let me know what my drive home from the south side is going to look like. I don't know if the snow has started to fall or not, but
yeah,
could be.
Lucky.
Yeah, it could be. As always, Patreon members, be interactive. Put comments in there. We'll call out to you as much as we can as we go through the episode, and yeah, let us know too. One of the things is if there's somebody you want to see on an ATB episode, as we're trying to find that format, and we do every week, and it's getting better and better as we go, I think, or we're getting somewhere as we go. One of the latest things is trying to get some of these pros that maybe we've had on before, just for a quick little update. Not that full interview. We've done that with them, but let's see where they're at. If they've got news that they want to share. In this case, when we get Casey on, we want to hear all about the fact that he's changed sponsor. So if there's a person you want to hear a interview like that with, or a discussion like that, let us know. And Daryl, I kind of threw you for a loop here with my first topic.
Did you?
I did. I said new course in Alberta.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we're thinking about the same thing, because I did see something on social media.
Okay.
But I mentioned it. I mentioned the person that I seen that had reposted it, which was Ian Penhaligon.
Okay.
Down in Calgary. And he said there were some words on his post that said, I'm excited to show you my new course.
Oh,
Let me know if you have any questions.
okay.
So I don't know if this is I didn't see what the name of the course was, but you tell me what the new course is, and then I'll see if it's the same course.
Well, you have me intrigued. I want to know more about Ian's
Okay.
post, so we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But I can tell you a couple things that we know before I get to the other news is that when you take a look here, and I thought I had it here. Where is my saw it here? Oh yeah, okay. So when we went down to the celebration with the city of Fort Saskatchewan,
Yeah.
with the Fort Saskatchewan Disc Golf Club as they were starting to form it,
Mm-hmm.
the city had approved a course for them, and they're going to build that one on a shared use area that's going to be with the Nordic group. That's what we understood.
Yeah.
And 9 of those holes will be seasonal. But when we talked to the guy from the Nordic Center, he was saying, I just want them to get 18 holes out here right away.
Right.
9 permanent and 9 temporary. So that's something that's going on. And just with some of our interactions back and forth, we know that they're at the stage of trying to find the correct person to help them design the course.
Yeah.
Because they're going to do it
They
right.
put it out to tender. Yeah.
Yeah.
They've had a few bids that we know of.
Yeah.
But
And
great course designers.
And I think, great course designers for sure. And we think that they're going to have it in the ground this year is the plan.
Yeah.
But if it's anything like what we saw with St. Albert, it takes a long time sometimes once you have the city involved. Even if they're on board, there's still just all those steps and processes that they've got to work through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
So is that the course?
That's not the course.
That's not the course. Okay.
The other one, which we know, and I got a little bit more information on, was the city of St. Albert. We know that they approved Langholm to be a permanent course because it was a temporary course. The news I found out about Langholm is that, again, this is all prefaced, but the hope is that by May or June, permanent tee pads will be at Langholm. So actual tee pads.
So being on the board, I do know a few little things.
Okay, tell me.
Well, that's what I heard.
Oh, okay.
I know that's what the goal is. I even told you that. No, I didn't.
Well, our sources may be very similar. Well, here's the third one, and this is the new news.
Yeah, I don't want to scroll down.
Okay. The Lacombe Disc Golf Association.
Okay.
So in Lacombe, Alberta, so that's kind of just past, just before Red Deer. You'll go through Lacombe. It's where Butterman Brewing is and that type of thing. So they have received funding approval from the city of Lacombe for $9,000 towards their Rosedale Valley Disc Golf project.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And do we know if it's going to be a 9 or an 18?
All we know is they've got a project, but I put a little other comment in here because this kind of starts to line up with something else that you and I are trying to do.
Okay.
And we had talked to John Umlaw from the Central Alberta Disc Golf Association, otherwise known as CADGA. And we've been in talks about doing another episode with a disc golf board, but not only just with a disc golf board, but one that is going to be possibly at another brewery.
Exactly.
Yeah. And what we're hoping to do is just like we did our Cold Garden live show, we're going to do one there. And maybe that's a little closer for some of our Edmonton friends to join us if the weather's perfect and not as snowy as last time. But
yeah, we haven't decided on a date yet. So, I mean, we can pick a nicer weekend.
Yeah, I think, or Wednesday.
Or, sorry, another, a nice. Yeah, you can come down on a Wednesday. We won't be there.
Yeah, exactly.
Or come down on a Saturday. We won't be there. Yeah.
So what do you see there?
So Ian Penhaligon, who is a supporter of the show, has put out. Yeah, this is not the same one that you're thinking of. So
we got another one.
Yeah, we do. So I don't know this town, but if anybody knows where Diamond Valley is, have you ever heard of Diamond Valley?
Yeah. So there's an area there that's west of Okotoks, and it was Turner Valley and Black Diamond.
Yeah.
But they were literally across the river from each other.
Okay.
And so they've combined together and they're Diamond Valley now.
So whereabouts, how far away from
just south of Calgary.
Oh, so south of Calgary.
Just southwest of Calgary.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the town of Diamond Valley, he put it out. Cat's out of the bag. I have a new 18-hole course set to open this summer. Please contact me for info and sponsorship opportunities.
Oh, fantastic.
So the city of Diamond Valley are going to have a new 18-hole course.
Well,
so that's another course that's going into Alberta.
Well,
there you go. Oh, okay. Sam just said the same thing. Turner Valley and Black Diamond amalgamated.
Yep. Dylan's in the chat there. Hey, Dylan, how you doing? So here's the thing: we like playing disc golf. We want to play new courses.
Mm-hmm.
I went on to UDisc. First question for you.
Okay. Is this Jeopardy? Do I have to bring up the screen?
Well, it's just
Can I
no
can I
Jeopardy
take
screen.
Alberta new courses for 100?
No, you've already got the answers to that one. I think we got
Okay.
4 answers there, but that's a good guess there.
Mm-hmm.
So, where do you think Alberta ranks in Canada on a list of the best provinces for disc golf on UDisc,
According to UDisc.
according to UDisc? And knowing what you
What's the
know,
criteria for best?
well, it's UDisc, so it could be just
Most.
ratings from people who have filled out UDisc after their round.
Oh, I'm gonna say one, two. I'm gonna say either third or fourth.
You are correct, sir. We rank third, and I think that
Okay.
kind of makes sense when we talked about
Ontario,
how
BC.
yeah, how big Ontario is. Chris Oslin's out there doing a
Yeah.
lot, and everybody else that's working on building courses and making them better makes sense. You got
Yeah.
Gabe out there, you got Daryl Banks out there. It's a great place, and I know BC, a classic place. So being third, I think, is pretty respectable for that.
Yeah.
But good guess there, Sam. Yes, we are third at the moment. And then my question, the next one was, according to UDisc, how many courses do you think Alberta has? How many? And now, again, sometimes they've got
Yeah.
courses up there that have closed and different things like that. But we're going to
Do-
use this one. How many
Yeah.
courses?
Is the 3 or a 6 hole course in Sherwood Park counted on UDisc?
Yes, because the second part of my question is how many of them are 18-hole courses?
Okay.
So this
How
includes
many?
anything that's
So
a course.
yeah, a course that's listed on UDisc. How many
Mhm.
courses does Alberta have?
Yeah, and you guys can
I'm
put your
gonna
guesses out there
Yeah, I'm
too.
gonna stall this one just for a little bit, just to let Sam or Dylan to get their guesses in the chat. But if I had to kind of, s- think of a round number, I'm thinking Edmonton's got 5 or 6, 7 maybe. Calgary's got maybe 8 or 9. I think they've got a few
Mhm.
more than us.
Yeah.
So maybe if I go on an average of 8 per. Well, then again, I can't say 8 per city because there are some cities that don't have any. But let's go with.
Do you want me to give you an over and under number for you to try to use to get you close?
No, let me shout out a number. I'm
Okay.
gonna. Oh, my smoke, Sam. Sam says 349.
349.
I wasn't gonna go that high.
Okay. Well, where were you going to go?
Okay, well, I was gonna say maybe like 120.
120. Okay. Well, if this was closest to without going over, Dylan's got 420 in there. So you, Dylan, my friend, and Sam, you would be having gone over. Daryl, you would still be under.
I win.
158 courses in Alberta.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah. So there's 158.
yeah,
How many of them do you think are 18-hole courses, though? Because
right.
there are those
So
3 holes, those
so
4 holes,
and 9 holes.
6 holes. Yeah,
So we're
different
not
things.
counting. So purely 18 holes.
At least 18. It's
And how many
18
did you say?
holes or more. So,
130.
some of them will be like a 20-hole course or
Yeah.
something.
How many?
158.
158.
Mhm.
How many 18-hole courses? I'm going to assume that there's more 18s than partial courses.
Okay.
So it's definitely going to be above 50. So 158. So we're talking over 75, 780. I'm going to say it's going to be. Dylan says 52. He reckons it's under half of them are over 18 holes.
Okay.
I'm going to say we are in the realm of 100. Let's go 100.
Well, I'll say Dylan wins this one because
Oh,
actually 58, 158 courses in Alberta.
Yeah.
58 of them
really?
are 18-hole courses, if you can believe
100
it.
non-18-hole courses.
Yeah. And the thing about that I wanted to bring up with it is that as we get to our course reviews, we thought before that we might run out really quickly.
Yeah,
And maybe that's if we only stuck to Edmonton.
right.
But we literally have 158 courses plus more coming. So
But that's quite a stretch for going from the top of Alberta to the south of
that's
Alberta
true. We might
try
have to
and
do a little bit of travel to get
Yeah.
through a few of them, but that's there. But Daryl, one of the things that we got tonight is we were going to bring a guest on the show.
We have a guest lined up, Jeremy.
Yeah, this guest has been on the show before. Amazing disc golf player, battling in great tournaments like Canadian Nationals, having gone down to the Disc Golf Pro Tour, has his own tournament named after him.
Yeah.
So why don't we bring on Casey Hanemayer? I think we're going to bring him on.
There you go.
Yeah. Hey, there's Casey.
Hello.
Hey, Casey, how you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Yeah,
Good.
pretty good.
Awesome to see you again. I like you got a little bit of a new look there. I think you grown a little more
Oh,
hair and maybe a beard since we saw you last, or what do you think?
Yeah.
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 Actually, you should have seen it 2 days ago. I had way more hair than this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just got it cut.
There you go, getting ready for the season because you know you're going to be on camera and all of that stuff. You got to be looking good.
Yeah.
You must have seen that Max is sporting the new buzz cut as well. Maybe you didn't go that far.
I didn't see that, no, but
Oh yeah,
I could see Max doing that for sure.
yeah,
Yeah, he's kind of trimmed it all down. He said there, we talked to him last week, I think it was, and he's just saying he was getting fresh and ready for the new season.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, we wanted to reach out to you right from the beginning there because we were watching what was happening, and we might as well start with Max. When we were talking to him, you know, we kind of made a slight misstep because we were talking that, oh yeah, Discmania sponsored Max Forgetnik, and then he had let us know that he'd parted ways with Discmania. It just didn't kind of work out for him, and he had a different sponsor. And we've seen that happening all year long with the pros and different people like Ricky moving and that type of thing. And then so this year you're making a change too. So wanted everybody to know about it. I know you've put the posts out, but we wanted to shout it out. Tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about your sponsor for this year.
Yeah, so I'm sponsored by Innova Disc Golf now. So pretty pumped about that. Like I said in my post, if people seen them, pretty much going back to my roots. I started throwing an orc and an AVR when I first started playing, and yeah, it's exciting to go back to them. Throw the Firebird again, throw the Boss again. Those are kind of my staples in my bag before I went to Prodigy. So
right.
it's going to be a fun season, and it's going to be hard battling back to try to figure out what putters I need to use again. So
What did you throw
after
before?
5 years of the P models, it's going to be tough to figure out what putters I want to use.
Yeah.
Which model of AVRs did you have before?
I always putted with the Mic Pros, so I think that's called the Nexus AVR now, I believe.
Okay, yeah.
Well,
Interesting. Well, one thing that Max said, and I've seen other people have said this as well, when they change sponsors, they
Mm-hmm.
they kind of tend to say, "Oh yeah, I'm excited to throw with this new plastic because maybe it'll fill a space that I never had in my bag before." Now, I'm always
Mm-hmm.
interested with like especially Innova that has pretty much a disc for every situation you can have, and especially a lot of the bigger manufacturers that have a lot of those slots covered. Was
Mm-hmm.
there a gap in your bag? You know, and I don't want you to single out Prodigy, but like, is there a disc a selection that wasn't you couldn't fill?
Yeah, the biggest thing I always missed is the Firebird. It
okay.
legit is like it that was the one thing I noticed the whole time I was with Prodigy. Like
Right,
they have every other disc, but they don't have that consistent overstable 9 speed.
right.
Yeah.
And then for you, is that one because you have such a great forehand and you do pull it out a lot on the course? Is that where you really want to see that Firebird perform, or is it for both backhand and forehand?
Both backhand and forehand. Like any of those approach shots that are you're just outside mid-range zone,
Yeah.
you
Well,
want to kind of throw a more overstable disc, and Prodigy had that, but it was always inconsistent. Like you never really knew what you were getting.
right.
Yeah.
So, and
Well,
like you said, I'm not singling them out, but I
yeah.
think they know that they don't have that disc in their lineup. So,
What disc were you throwing? In place of the Firebird.
I had a feedback, but
Okay.
it wasn't the same, right? The
Yeah.
consistency
Yeah.
wasn't really there, and then there wasn't anything in between that and like an H1, which was too stable. But then they
Okay.
had other runs of the H1 that were kind of understable. So yeah, I was like I said, that was the one disc that
Yeah.
I always missed. So
It always just made me, because we're not at that level where we can tell what disc does what, but I always refer it to like an Explorer, which is I think is 7402 or
Mm.
7502, which is an Athena, which is a T-Bird, which they've all got that same
Mm-hmm.
number. flight numbers, but obviously the disc can do different things, right?
Yeah.
So like you mentioned about Firebird, MVP has the Fireball in that range, and then I thought every manufacturer would try and replicate that, but
well, and I think
and then Discraft has the Raptor.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah. And I think the other thing, as we know too, is they all might have similar flights, but they could stamp any number they want on there. If it's like everyone has a 5.5 minus 1.1, but are they all 5.5 minus 1.1s? I don't know. Right.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. And I think on the other side of that coin, so you've got the Firebird coming into your bag. It might be also too, is it's your, if I remember right, your A3 was one of your big staples. Is that going to be a hard one for you to replace, or do you think you've got something in the Innova lineup right away?
That's actually a funny thing, because that lineup of Prodigy for their approach series is probably the best on the market. Like their A4, A3, A2, A5, like those are going to be hard to replace. That because I threw all of those. Those are kind of like, that's my money zone. I've always liked throwing from 200 feet and in, right? With those discs, is like, that was any shot I had that in my bag from that distance, because I had all those discs, right? So
yes,
that is obviously going to be hard to replace from them for sure.
Right. Have you started to find anything to try to fill that slot yet out of the Innova lineup? Or?
So I haven't got my allotment yet, but that should be coming in here pretty soon.
Okay.
Obviously the Gator, right? That I threw that a lot when I was throwing Innova before. And then they have the Cayman, I know that, but there is obviously, like you guys said, they have pretty much every disc. They came out with a bunch of new discs when I wasn't throwing them. Right. So I'm going to have to try. I'm going to have to obviously try and see if I can grab a couple new ones and try to fill those slots.
Right.
Well, I've got 2 Sophia discs, and I need to get I've got one of them signed. Yeah. I've got my Chantel signed. I've got my Noah Higgins signed. I'm trying to build my collection. Well, I was waiting to see you to get my right way around, to get my Rocket Bear signed. Am I still able to bring this with me and you'll sign it?
Or do we gotta? Yeah. Perfect. That's awesome. Now, something like that, is that your stamp that if you wanted to bring it along, or is that one that would probably stay behind and you'll have to do some new artwork, or what happens in that side of the process?
So yeah, that is my stamp. I was lucky enough to get it from Gander, actually.
Okay.
So they let me have the rights to that, and thanks to Calvin for that and everything. So yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, another thing too, Casey, with that going to Innova, we've seen with Sophia's great rise, and you got a chance to play with her in Australia, or at least to probably play some practice rounds if you weren't playing rounds together. And then now Rebecca Dawn is also on Innova. It's pretty cool to me to see just how many great Innova players from Canada. We're not even talking about the US in that. And are you excited about that part of having teammates like that?
Yeah, no, it is awesome again. Just the same thing over in Vancouver. Like Stu's over there. We got Chris Hartman, and then you got Martin Hendel, right? He's still on Innova as well. So all the great players. Yeah, it's Sophia and Rebecca. It's really cool, and we're kind of growing a little team. Same thing with I had with Prodigy. So it's cool to see.
One thing that tends to happen, or what we hear about, is when somebody goes to a new manufacturer, they find their friends that have that plastic, or maybe used to throw that plastic in the past, and they'll raid their bags and they'll get discs from them. So when you left Innova and you went to Prodigy, did you have anybody that came to you and said, well, you're not throwing Innova anymore, can I take these discs from you? So my question is, how depleted is your collection from your old collection? I know you said you're getting your new allotment in, but you obviously have those discs that you had in the past. How depleted are those old discs?
Yeah,
I imagine they're pretty beat in.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's kind of funny. So I gave a kid here, his name's Adrian in Cranbrook, Adrian Redick. I gave him, I don't know, 4 or 5 discs before he went to Prodigy, actually. Okay. So he had those discs for I think a year, and then he went to Prodigy. But I I was looking through my stuff in my garage, and I was like, where are all those putters I had? Like, where? And then he messaged me the day a day after I announced, and he's like, oh, you know all those like KC ABRs you threw? I have all those. So I was just like, I was just wondering, and then he was just like, oh yeah, I'll give you all those back. So no, it worked out pretty sweet. I'm happy to have those back for sure, because I had to like perfectly beat in just every disc that I want, what I needed for the putting approach area. So it's nice to have those guys that will help you out when you gave them discs, and then they give them back to you. So
yeah. So if you had a full lineup of beat-in discs that you were using before, but like you said, you gave some of them away, which ones are like the most what's the phrase I'm looking for? Like
the hardest to replace, or
kind of the hardest to replace. So is it the putters, because that's where the money happens, or is it that beat-in destroyer or firebird that you just can't replace? Like, which one is the one that you absolutely have to have?
So I gave Ben Loggins actually a couple discs. He has a Innova made FD3 that I really liked. I know I gave Jesse Tamalti a couple discs, but they have all messaged me. I talked to them in person already, and they said they'll give me a couple of them back. Not all of them, obviously, because they're in their bags, or not Jesse's bag, but because he can't throw Innova. He's Discmania still, but Ben said he'll give me all of them back, except probably the FD3. He'll keep that one. So, and I said that's fair enough.
So with those ones, is it if there were some of those Discmania discs that were made by Innova, are you able to throw them because they are truly Innova discs, or it's just like, let's not confuse the matter, or how does Innova look at that?
I believe so. I haven't read into the fine print on that. Like, that was the only disc I threw from Discmania when Innova owned them, so I probably won't have a problem letting that one go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that is the only Discmania disc I've ever thrown, actually. So
okay, well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Well, now as we're talking about this, and you just can't probably wait for that allotment to get out there and then to get out and start throwing, it's like thinking about the 2025 season. Before we get into what you're going to be doing, we saw the disc that Daryl showed there, which is that Rocket Bear disc. Are you right in the throes of planning Rocket Bear for this year?
Yeah, it's coming up pretty soon here, I guess. Yeah, less than a month away. So, or less month and a half away, I guess.
And is that when? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's like you said, I'm right in the throes of it, getting sponsorships. I got Encore on board. They're the ones who obviously do Up and Down as well.
Okay,
so I'm going to be using them, and then Innova now, and Save on Foods, the same as last year. So
sweet, nice.
And if I remember right, that one caps off Andre's Rusty series. Is it yours? Is like the final event of the five?
It was
five
supposed
events?
to be, but it kind of how something worked in Golden. Most of those guys work up at the ski hill.
Okay.
So they had to move theirs to the last one. So theirs is April 10th.
Gotcha.
Just because all of them work up the ski hill, and they wouldn't be able to get the course ready before in April. So we had to move theirs to the last one. So, but all good.
Yeah. And one of the things is yours is at Wycliffe for sure, but I couldn't remember. Are you playing Wycliffe and the college tour? Is it all Wycliffe or?
Wycliffe, and then I got a deal at a ball golf course. I set up temp baskets for a round.
Okay, right. Yeah. And that, right, because when we talked to you that last time, like you had to get up first thing in the morning, set it up right before the tournament, and then take it right down as soon as the tournament was done. Is that right?
Yeah.
Are they going to be
the same thing? Yeah.
It's going to be the same. They're not going to be flexible with you this year, saying you did such a good job, we'll give you a little bit more time or anything.
It's not a big deal. Like, it's pretty easy taken down. They give me a golf cart and everything, and I just rip around and take. Everybody helps out too, so it's easy. When I only have the one round there, it's not too bad.
Right. Nice. Now, with it, how has it been for registration? Is it already full up, or how is it coming along that way?
I think we're at 52 out of 72, something like that. So
okay. And there's
time left.
Yeah. If there's people who, if it starts to gather more steam as you keep doing this event and it starts growing and that type of thing, would you look to make it more than 72, or do you just want to make sure for that round robin number that you want to stick with 72?
Um, just for what I'm doing now, for sure. I've talked about it making it bigger, but the way disc golf is going, I'm probably gonna leave it at 72. There's been, like, as you guys probably seen or talked to people about, pretty much every Canadian tournament hasn't filled up yet. So, and even the big ones like the A tiers and everything haven't filled up yet. So
Right.
we'll see. I'm hoping disc golf stays where it is at, but from who I've talked to and everybody, like kind of the big guns in Vancouver and everything, everybody's kind of just like, yeah, it's kind of plateaued right now, and maybe
Right.
even on the decline a little bit, right? So I'm
Mhm.
not I'm not really too worried about going over 72. I've left it at 72 pretty much every year, and it's been great. And doing more than that by myself, I probably I probably don't want to do it
Yeah.
until I get more people to help me.
Yeah.
So one thing, because I'm TD in my first tournament, is going to be a 3 days challenge, 2 rounds.
Nice.
But it's about a month and a half, 2 months away. I was told not to worry that the sign up, obviously my first tournament, I open it up on Disc Golf Scene and I'm waiting to see that first person register and then expecting it just to like the numbers just to roll in. But obviously it's not that way. I was
Yeah.
told that a lot of people, especially for like an unsanctioned event like mine, is they'll wait till maybe like the week before to see what they're doing, what the weather's going to be like, and then they'll
Yeah.
sign up. Do you get that with yours as well? Like you're sitting at 52 now, but those last 20 spots are going to go in the last 2 to 3 weeks.
That is usually what happens. That's what happened last year too. I think I kind of filled up to about 50 or about halfway. And
Yeah.
then the last 2 weeks I think it filled up, and I think I had like 8 or 9 people on the wait list too. So
Right.
it's
Okay.
it's like you said, everybody just waits to see what the weather is. People, you don't know what's going to happen in at the end of April, right?
Yeah.
You never know. It could snow again, so
Exactly.
Fair enough.
And then while we're on the subject of TD, and like I said, it's my first event. So can you give me if you had to give me one bit of advice to not panic about, what would it be?
that's the biggest thing. Don't panic. Just like
Yeah.
I don't know. The first year I did, I think that's the best way to do it too. Is just
Yeah.
do an easy tournament, but people pay their whatever you said, like the $35, get their 3 discs, and then they just go out and have fun, take
Yeah.
score and everything. The disc golf scene and the PDGA manager for a tournament is really unbelievable.
Right.
It works really, really good. They've done a really good job of everything on there. And the biggest headache on that is just entering, or the scores coming in,
Right.
right?
Okay.
And then you have to fiddle around with cards and everything, but it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Everything what they do, and I feel like people who've never ran a tournament before don't understand why you have to pay $75 for a PDGA membership. That's the reason, because TDs, they made it so easy for TDs to do it.
Yeah.
And that's where all that money has gone, right? Is into all that computing stuff and everything to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think my biggest, like you said, the thing is I'm stressing about everything to make sure everything goes smoothly, but then on the day, everything will go smoothly, so it'll be a wasted stress. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
you put me a bit of ease.
Yeah, there is no point in stressing, right? Because you're gonna the biggest thing with a tournament like you're doing is just make sure you have all the discs.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And
As long as
if
people
you
get
have
their discs,
those, you're good.
pretty much. Yeah.
That's fair enough for
Yeah.
sure. And I think too, right, is maybe it's a lot like when you get married and that is the people say, well, it didn't go exactly as planned, but your guests don't know what it was supposed to be. So as long as you hit a couple key marks, like you start on time, exactly as Casey says, you have your discs.
Yeah.
I think you've done it. Those are the things, right?
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
So now with yours too, Casey. So now that Innova is going to be part of it, are they supplying Innova discs, or what is their? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they're gonna. So I obviously was a little. I'm running behind right now to get my allotment and even getting my sponsorship from them. I was on the fence big time with who I was gonna go with,
Right.
and I didn't have enough time to get a custom disc made. So I'm gonna be just people gonna be getting stock stamps this year,
Okay.
and then next year I'm gonna be getting a custom stamp for everybody for the
Cool.
tourney.
Nice. Not that we want to go too much into the contract details, but just because you brought it up there, because you said next year, so obviously it's good. It must be at least a 2-year contract for you with Innova.
It's not, but that's what I'm hoping I get to sign
Okay.
again, right?
Right.
So,
Okay.
obviously, it's not like I said, it's not set in stone. It's a 1-year contract, but there's always room to choose another company, right?
Yeah.
There's been a lot of people asking me, is like, well, why'd you leave Prodigy? And there's been a lot of people saying, well, you wanted to go to Innova all along. I was
Right.
like, no, I was like super happy with what Prodigy has all done
Right.
for me. Right?
Yeah.
They've been an awesome company. Nothing bad to say about them at all.
Right.
This was strictly a business decision, really.
Mm-hmm.
So I have nothing bad to say about them. That was not a decision, or the reason I left is because I don't like them at all. It was strictly business.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the same thing as we spoke to Max last week. He kind of said the same thing, is that
It just didn't
it just came
work
down
out.
to something that just didn't work out for him, and that was the decision he made. There was no, like you said, no ill feelings
No
or
ill will. Yeah.
nothing like that.
Well, and for us too, when you talk Prodigy, like whenever you hear anybody say something about it, it's usually out of the US, but like in Canada, Prodigy supports everything. Like Noah's got the spring runoff coming up. They support it there. He's given out 2 discs. When you were doing coming up for Edmonton Open, they're supporting it. Like all over the place, Prodigy is there to support Canadian disc golf. So you're right. Like, Innova is a great one too. Like we're just seeing that these companies are really supporting our Canadian disc golf tournaments. So yeah, nothing bad to say about Prodigy that way for sure.
Yeah.
But no, that's good. And then when we were looking, you've got a few events set up on your 2025 season. We saw that spring runoff being one of them. I'm heading down, so I'll catch up with you there,
Nice.
hopefully. Obviously, the MA40 side of it, so we'll probably be on different courses at the same time. But you've got BC Open and you got Nationals going. So that's kind of the 3 you've booked. Have you thought about what the rest of your year is going to look like?
Yeah, with everything, I just bought a new house. So I'm kind of working on that. It's going to be a shorter schedule, I think.
Okay.
Unless something else comes up. Probably not going to the States, but yeah, those 3 tournaments are probably going to be the big ones. Spring runoff, BC Open, and then Canadian Nationals. And then I'm just going to be playing some local ones here, and then maybe even some unsanctioned ones. I'm obviously excited for Edmonton Open, like always. So
yes, yeah. No, it's always good to get out there with Andrew and Calvin, and they put on a good tournament for sure. Yeah, definitely. And spring runoff, we talked to Rebecca and Noah and had a good conversation with them and chatted about it. And when we were talking with them, it sounds like Aperture's going to have at least 9 tee pads, I think, are already in the ground, and they might get another 9 out there. So after the mud fest we had last year, just because of the way the weather worked out, I think that's gonna make a big difference at that tournament, leveling it up to that A-tier status that it's at this year.
Yeah, that. It's kind of funny. Everybody knows, or a lot of people know about my pet peeve with tee pads. So hopefully they can get those 9 tee pads done there.
Yeah, that's it. Is like when you go and you do that plant step and you slip, like that's the worst, because you can have everything perfect, but then because the underground footing is what's going to throw you off. Like that's something out of your control, right? So and especially when you're going to line up on Aperture for that whole one with that straight tunnel shot, everything needs to be perfect, right? Yeah, for sure. Well, and then it looks like too is, so you were down in Australia and you were playing there, and I guess where was that you got a chance to get together with Sophia, with Max, with Thomas, and all of that. And so Thomas came out to Clearwater. He ended up taking nationals on our side of the country. So is that what your goal is? Are you thinking, I'm going to go over to your side of the country, Thomas, and I'll show you how to take nationals over there? Or?
It would be awesome. It would be awesome to win nationals again, for sure.
Yeah.
We were kind of in Thunder Bay, it was kind of like a neutral zone for both of us. So even though it wasn't Ontario, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. So there, I took that one. Then he came back to Clearwater and took that one. So hopefully we can keep flip flopping and trading national championships.
That's good.
There you go.
And are you guys like, because that's the one thing we don't know, like obviously your teammates when you're on Team Canada, are you guys, would you call yourselves pretty much friends? Are you friendly rivals? Like where does your relationship sit when it comes to the other Canadian MPOs?
I think we're friends. Obviously, when you're on the course, you're friendly rivals, right?
Yeah.
You're friendly rivals on the course. But yeah, no, I'm friendly. I don't have no ill will against anybody in Canada, but yeah, on the course, everything changes, right? That's kind of how it goes. So
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because when you were mentioning about Australia, there's something that I've always wanted to ask you, and I know you've told this story before on another podcast, but I just wanted to get it from you again because it was such a funny story to listen to the first time. Is I want you to tell us the story about when I think it was
the Finnish guy.
Yeah, exactly. When you, because I think it was you were on Park Pro with Matt and Andre, and I think Colleen was there as well, and you were talking about the way that the World Championships work is, or with diff, is that if you win the hole, you can tell the other person to pick up their disc, right? And I'll let you carry on that story.
Yeah. So, well, that's it. Kind of started on hole. I think we're on hole 5, so it started early, and he was just scoffing every time. After that, we told him to pick up, or we told her to pick up the disc because we were playing alt shot doubles.
Yeah.
Right.
And pretty much every time I threw a shot, he scoffed in my backswing.
Oh.
Right. So this probably went on probably 5 holes, and I was just like, man, you got to stop. And I told him once, and then the very next hole, he kind of was like, he was close behind me, and he scoffed. I got a little lucky, went through some branches, and I kind of went close to the pin. I think I parked it,
Right.
and then I was done. Right. It's like, I'm not a mean guy.
Yeah.
And I don't try to like make trouble.
Right.
But at that point, I told him once, and I was just like, I can't do it anymore. So fists were almost thrown. Obviously, Colleen's good at telling it too, because she was with me on the card.
Yes.
She obviously felt triggered by it as well, because she probably noticed.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just
In this
yelling match a bit, language barrier a bit as well.
right.
Yeah.
And I think he kind of just backed away a little bit, but nothing bad happened after that. So
I think the way you told it was that you're supposed to be on this ambassadorship of bringing the world's all the different countries together, and there you are almost scrapping.
Yeah.
Well,
that's the thing with the whiff diff thing, is they have like the friendship medal at the end for the most sportsmanlike team, and I think we might have been last in that one.
This is Team Canada.
Yeah, there you go. Team polite, team story, but not if you really scoff at us. I don't blame you, because I'm the same kind of guy. I'm the friendliest guy you're going to meet. But if somebody's going to push your buttons, you can only go so far. And it's like, there's a thing about friendly competition, and there's about intentional, I was going to use like malfeasance or something, but like intentional ability to try and throw somebody off. I've always thought that isn't something to be about disc golf, right? Like if there's fans and they're making noise and they're talking, you got to learn how to do that, but you shouldn't have your competitors like yelling in your ear or clapping their hands right when you're throwing. That's not in the spirit of the game in my mind. So
yeah.
But so no, that's interesting that way. And it was good. I was glad that you were telling me about Thomas, because we've talked a lot with the Canadian FPOs. And from what it sounds like when we talk to them, it is pretty much they're competing against each other, but it's a fairly big friend group because of the FPO field being a little bit smaller. They all know each other, especially if they're going to the same events. But when you see the MPO fields, they'll be 2 to 3 times as big. And maybe it's a guy you don't know in that. So I didn't know if there was bigger rivalries on the Canadian MPO side than there was on the FPO. So
I wouldn't say it's like crazy rivalries, but it gets to a point, right? It's like usually pretty much every big tournament me and Thomas are in, we're going to be playing against each other, right? Either we're on the same card or close in score. So and that same thing with me and Noah too, right? It's all the same.
Well, and I think with you and Noah too is like you guys probably, and as Thomas, as you said, you've been playing against each other and with each other as well for such a long time that there
Mhm.
has to be a friendship because you've battled through it together. And it isn't just, yeah, we all started after COVID and did this fun sport. No, we grinded it from the beginning and
Yeah,
got to where we are today. And we got to ride that wave, but we earned I say we, but I'm saying we for you guys. You guys earned your right to ride that wave. So there's
yeah,
there's got to be camaraderie in that.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah. So with that, do you think when you were saying that you'd noticed that the boost in disc golf playing and in tournaments and stuff, and it's kind of leveled out, is this just feel to you like we're just getting back to a normal that you experienced before? It's not getting, a lot of people are crying wolf, it's getting worse, but that's only because they only know that boost. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, because COVID boomed, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It boomed everything, right? It's like it's not just disc golf, right? It's like every outdoor sport. They like I know a couple guys who pedal bike, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's like there's pedal bike companies that are going out of business like crazy, same as disc golf, right? And yeah,
Cornhole is
it's
probably
sad.
not doing as well either, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Cornhole was
exactly,
another one.
exactly. Same with pickleball,
Yeah.
right? Same with pickleball. It's all the same with all those little sports that kind
Yeah.
of took over from all the major sports. So
Yeah.
it's yeah, like you said, people don't realize that it has leveled out and it's kind of back at where it's been before COVID. I totally agree with that. I never thought about it that way,
Hmm.
but no, that is exactly is what has happened.
Oh, gotcha. Well, that's good. Well, I'm glad I'm going to be able to see you at spring runoff. And then Daryl and I at the moment are both set up to go to nationals as well. So
Nice.
we'll catch up there. We were excited to see, the BC players and the Alberta players heading out there. Because, of course, last year with nationals and the RIP happening at the same time,
Hmm.
if I lived in Ontario, I probably would have stayed home as well. It was closer to go to. So it's good to see
Yep.
that the West is going to go out east and hopefully it works the same way the next time. But I think I've heard tell that PEI might be really pushing to have it come back out their way as well. So
Cool.
One thing
Yeah.
that we spoke with Max last week, we were talking about the lack of Americans coming into the nationals, and we mentioned that Daryl Banks, the TD, one of the TDs, purposely kept it open just for the first week, just for Canadians to play in the national event. But we did
Hmm.
just check disc golf scene before we went live earlier, and I did notice that one of the bigger names that we've seen. There's only, I think, maybe 6 MPO Americans that are registered, and one of them being Aaron Gossage. Have you
Oh
ever
yeah.
have you played with him much?
I've never played with him. I've seen him play. He throws an absolute mile.
yeah,
Right.
I know that.
Yeah.
He's right up there with Thomas in distance. So it's yeah, it's gonna be cool
It'd be a
to
challenge.
see him play again. Yeah, I watched him quite a bit down at USDGC actually. So
Yeah.
okay. Well, I'm thinking now that Sophia finally got the FPO Canadian Nationals Championship back to Canada and no longer the
mhm.
US winning. That's the thing I'm hoping to is I'm like, maybe I told you we have to be sportsmanlike in that, but maybe between you and Thomas, you can give Goose a little elbow or something like that if he's getting a little too close.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So
No, I totally agree. We want to keep it up here.
yeah,
Yeah. Absolutely.
100%. Yeah, for sure. Well, Casey, we said we'd talk to you for about 30 minutes, and we're at that there. Before we let you go, is there anything that maybe you wanted to throw out there to anybody?
Not much. Just yeah, thanks for Innova for sponsoring me this year. Thanks to Encore Brewing again for sponsoring me, and thank you to Flex Zone as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did see that post too. That's an awesome
Yeah. They were
supporter as
your
well.
sponsors last year as well, right? Flexo.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Well, fantastic. Well, we'll see you in a few weeks down in spring runoff there and have a good start to your season and good luck with Rocket Bear. I'm sure it'll be fantastic.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thanks for joining, Casey.
Okay.
See ya.
See ya.
Yeah.
Daryl, what do you think about this new format? Do you
I
like that type of conversation?
I do. I like it.
I love
Yeah.
it, and especially when it's like such
Case,
great people, right?
yeah. Casey's up in that upper echelon of guests now that's been on the show 3 times.
Yes.
Yeah, we've had him on for the fantasy episodes for a couple of wins.
Yeah.
We had him on. Did we do an episode? No, I don't think we did a full episode with Casey, did we?
No.
It was just
Oh no, we did. We did. Remember, Casey's going to be on the show. Casey's going to be on the show.
Right. Yeah. We did get a little bit excited
We
about
did
that.
get very excited about that.
Yeah.
But I guess let me throw that out to you guys. Like I know Dylan, you're out there, and Mark's out there, as well as Sam. And if anyone else is in the chat, or if you're watching this after the fact, last week we had that chance to have that little conversation with Sophia. This week it's with Casey. What do you guys think about that? How do you like that format too around the basket? Because I know I'm starting to enjoy it, and I think it's a great way for us after we've done one of those full interviews with a player that we can maybe get a catch up with them.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not every week, but when we can fit one in, or if they've got something to say, then it'd be great to have them on just for that.
It's good for this time of year because there's a lot of, movement happening, a lot of new things, people putting out their tour schedules. Things like Sophia going down to the tour down under. We wanted to find out all about that and what she was up to for the rest of the year. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, if we get back to where we were talking about before we started chatting with Casey,
Yeah.
talked about the 158 courses, 58, and you had said it's going to be really tough for us to hit all 158 courses in Alberta.
Well, that's 158 courses,
Yes.
but there was only 58.
Oh, 18.
18. So,
do you think we could start with that? That would be a good way to start.
yeah, I think I don't really want to travel 12 hours to go play a 6-hole course in
high level.
I was trying to think of
like
some
that.
back.
Yeah, we're in Dawson Creek. We've drove all the way out here
to play
to do a review on a 3-hole course.
Yeah,
where the average distance is 125 feet.
Exactly. We parred it.
Yeah, exactly. We couldn't go below par even there.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That would be, maybe that's a long-term goal to try and, there's people like Tobin Isaac.
Yeah.
Wanted to play the most amount of courses, tournaments in Canada. He set out, that was his goal. He did that in that year. I don't know if he's going to try and do that every year and try and break that record each year. But there are people that, okay, I'm going to try and hit every course hit one course in every province.
Right.
Or I want to do, there's a goal, right? So we could set the goal by saying we want to make it chain out goal that we play all 58 18-hole courses in Alberta.
Yeah.
It might take us 2 years, 3 years to do it.
But it could be one. I know you don't love goals, but we
one.
could do that. Well, you're right, because I think it's Arlen and Jerry Ann Brownbridge. They are trying to capture as many new courses. So that's one of the things that I've noticed that they'll do is on their weekends, they'll plan a trip in Canada, driving distance, to go hit some courses that they've never played before. Right. And they're really good at putting up a quick review of it as well.
Yeah.
But speaking of course reviews, Daryl.
Oh, what a segue. Mark reckons that doesn't sound that hard, honestly.
Really?
To hit 58 well, I mean, let's talk about time frame. It doesn't it's not that hard.
Time frame on it.
Yeah, exactly. If there's no time frame.
Yeah, as long as we can still throw a disc.
As long as we can still work at getting towards playing all 58 18-hole courses in Alberta.
Yeah.
It's something to, what are we? Probably like 7 or 8 already there.
We'll do that. I haven't broke that down.
Because you've played more courses than I have.
Yes. But there's opportunities. Yeah. Especially a Calgary trip, you could knock off a good 6 or 7 just in that area.
Exactly. Mark says he has a lot of time also.
Yeah, that's true. He can help us with that goal. For sure. Maybe as a group effort. Mark, we need you to go up to high level and play that 18-hole course.
I'm sure if we had a group of people, we could say that we played all 58 courses. It's spread among
collective.
Yeah, it's spread among 20 people.
But we did it.
It's meant to be a chain out thing.
Okay, we got that then.
I know that was the goal.
Well, here's my thing, and this is out to you guys as well. Don't go look because it's actually hard to find if you're trying to find out there. But do you remember what the last course we reviewed was?
The last course, we started onto the 18s. We did Hermitage, we did Rundle, we did Niska. It could have been, I reckon it was Niska Pasquak.
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Did we? It's definitely an 18 because we did the 9-hole courses around Edmonton.
Mm-hmm.
And then we moved to.
Give you one more guess.
Yeah, Sam said at a guess he says Niska as well, but you're saying it's not Niska.
No.
We did. Was it? Did we review Wildman?
No, we didn't, but you're very
That was
close.
that was
It is a private course.
we didn't do Bailey's.
Yeah.
Did we do
We
Bailey's?
reviewed Bailey's.
Oh.
And now the other part for you is what episode or who were we interviewing that night? Because that was when we had those supersized episodes and we could do a
Back in the
course
good
review.
old days when we had those 2.5, 3 hour episodes.
Yep. So here you got to tell me what I got it on my little list here.
Oh, okay. Well, give us three. Give me an ABC.
Give you an ABC.
Yeah, give me an option. Give me multiple choice.
Oh,
So I'll give you a second to think. No, we've never reviewed Jubilee, Mark.
no. No, we did. We did review Jubilee because we went out there and we played
did.
it. Yeah,
we did. We went out
review
there
them.
specifically to play it.
Yeah,
because I hadn't
exactly.
played it at that point.
So I'll give you. How about we could say, now I've got to think of some.
Well, you think of some, and I'll keep chatting. And
Okay, no, I've got it.
okay.
Was it Wally's episode?
Okay.
Was it Miguel's episode?
Yeah.
Was it Chad Gamlin's episode?
Ah. So we reviewed Bailey's.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Wally and Chad were more recent. Miguel was a long time ago. He was the first pro that we interviewed, I think.
Yeah.
It couldn't have been that far back because I think that was like episode 10 or 11.
I believe 10 was Joe Henderson. So that was one of our
10 was
first
Joe
pros. And
yeah,
then
okay,
Miguel
sure.
was shortly after.
Right. You're right. Joe was first pro.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, then I'm going to have to say Miguel because I don't remember doing. I think Wally's was a full episode.
Yeah.
And I think Chad Gamlin's was a full episode. So then I'm going to have to say Miguel.
And you would be incorrect, sir. It was Chad Gamlin's episode. It was episode 35. And it was, I checked it out. I did the math. July 18th, 2024, 236 days ago from a couple nights ago when I did it, which is about 7 months and 3 weeks since we did our last course review.
That's crazy.
And that last course review we did was with Kristen Swirls.
You just said it was with Chad Gamlin.
No. So like the one before. So we did one with Chad Gamlin 7 months ago. Before that, the one that we did was with Kristen Swirls.
Yeah.
And that was January 3rd, 2024, which was 7.5 months. So it's almost like we're doing one every 7.5 months.
Not anymore. We're going to try and get back into the routine of doing these. But I mean, we might run out of courses.
I think we've got enough right now that if we're mixing them in every few weeks or something like that.
It's not going to be a regular feature, but what are we doing this week then if we're going to do it?
Well, what I wanted to do just so that we could catch everybody up because it's been so long.
Aimed at you.
We have been slacking. So we've reviewed 8 courses so far, and I'm going to give you our order just so that everybody knows. Because we had cut it down to 5, like our top 5, and we were knocking one off. That's what we were doing.
That's what we were doing.
Your order as of our last review was Bailey's, Hermitage in number 2, Rundle in number 3, Niska in number 4, Langholm in number 5, and then you had the Hills at the time because they still had holes. And after the Hills, you had Jubilee. And then, of course, at the end, the Augusta of Edmonton. Nor'Wester. And then I had Bailey's in number 1, Niska in number 2, Rundle in number 3. So we shared our 1 and 3 were the same.
Yeah.
I had Hermitage in number 4, Langholm in number 5. So again, we both had the same number 5. And then Nor'Wester, Jubilee, and then the Hills was on the bottom of my list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it might be down on the bottom of my list right now.
Yeah, it's kind of, if we were to redo this.
It doesn't even count now. It doesn't even have 9 holes.
Yeah. Well, I figured what we could do tonight, drum roll, let's review Wetaskiwin.
Wetaskiwin?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great course that, are we still going to rank it?
Oh yeah, we're going to rank it.
Oh, okay.
At this point here, I think what we're doing is we're taking courses that we both played.
It has to be.
And we can try to be in the Edmonton area, but we can also be in Alberta, and we might extend it out if we go and we play some specific course.
Yeah.
Maybe these are our top courses, but as much as we can do Alberta, it just helps listeners as well who are coming to the area.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Wetaskiwin, what do we want to start with that? I think the first thing we can talk about is that it's out at Peace Hill Park. Yeah. And it's at the north end of Wetaskiwin. So if you are in Edmonton, and especially like you, where you're on the south side of town, how long does it take you to get there?
That's the crazy thing. For me, time-wise, it takes me exactly the same amount of time to get to Wetaskiwin as it does to get to Rundle.
Really?
It takes me 30 minutes from where I am,
Wow.
because for me, most of the driving is straight shot 100 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
So the distance, it might be further away, but the time wise, yeah, it takes me about 30 minutes to get there. And getting to Rundle can vary. It can be 25, it can be 45, depending on traffic, because I'm only doing 80
Right.
and 60 on when I'm in the town and that sort of thing. So yeah, not that far away really, if you're talking time wise.
And if you're trying to get out to a course for a day, and now that you say that it's the same kind of distance for you to Rundle, it's really not taking that much more of your
Yeah.
time to do it. And I think a thing we should actually say as well with our course reviews, if somebody's watching this for the first time, we're not going to break down. Don't hang up now. We're not breaking down hole by hole by hole.
Yeah.
That's not how we do that. We more talk about what we think about it, how it is from an amateur level, holes that we like, holes that we think are nemesis holes, are ace holes as well, that kind of thing too. So
The camera.
oh, look at the camera. And we look at the camera when we do our course reviews too. That's the other thing we do.
Yeah.
I thought you wanted me to look at a comment.
Okay, let's get to it.
So we got a course down there in Wetaskiwin, 18 holes.
Yeah.
Fairly long course.
Yeah.
3 sets of T markers where you've got white, red, and blue.
Yeah.
Or red, white, blue. Yeah, blue's longest.
So red and whites are marked. Blues. Sorry, no. Yeah, red and whites are marked.
Yep.
Blues. Sam, come back.
It's because I didn't stare at the camera.
Red, white, and blue. Red and whites are marked. I don't think blues are marked unless it's a tournament.
Right.
Yeah.
No, they're there.
Are you sure?
Yeah, they're there. Because if you think of hole 5, it's way, way back.
Oh, you know what? I was thinking for the tournament that we did at Battle 6, they extended the blues on some holes.
Right.
They
they
put it back to the original layout.
Yeah.
I remember them saying that now. Sorry.
But with that, so they got T markers, as we're saying. They don't have T pads. That's one thing I would tell you about the course that is one of the things that it's lacking.
Exactly.
But what it isn't lacking is it isn't lacking types of shots.
Mm-hmm.
And it isn't lacking a challenge.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely a tough course. Like you said, if you're going to mark it down, the first thing you notice, no T pads.
Right.
That's the first, con, I guess, if you want to say, when you get to the course.
I was going to say also with that, not only that, there's another interesting thing. On the front 9, you have one type of basket.
I was just going to get to that.
Yeah. And on the back 9, you have a basket that you're familiar with. But let's talk about that first type of basket. So you're going to pull up to Wetaskiwin, park in the parking lot. They got a nice parking lot. If you can't park in there, which would only be during a tournament, you can park on the road.
Yeah.
But you get there, you'd step up to these T pads or T markers. You see some kind of basket out along the way. And then you get up there and what do you find?
Yeah. They're definitely, they kind of remind me a little bit of the helix baskets from the down under, the T, the shape of them, but they're not your natural, the ones that you're going to be looking for. You're not going to be finding the disc catchers, the Mach 3s or anything like that. I believe the reason why they've been left on the front 9 is because that was the original design of the first person who put a course in Alberta.
Okay.
That was the history behind them. They do have a history behind them.
Well, I did a little digging to the history, and what it was another friend of the show, Alex Penny, he's doing a whole bunch of get in, get out, get rated.
Yeah.
Where's the course history about that? Yeah, I didn't do my deep dive into it.
Well, you're getting to that history right now.
Back in the early days. But yeah, so with Alex Penny's get in, get out, get rated that he's doing on Fridays, and one of them is going to be at Park 96. And so Park 96 has the same baskets. And I've actually got your history for you here, Sam, because I'm going to see if Daryl, or for Mark as well, if you want to pull up this link. I don't know if you can pull it up and put it in there.
I can do that.
But what this is it's called a trap shot basket, and it is PDGA approved, obviously, because we play the tournaments there. But did you ever think about that when we played a PGA tournament, whether it was an approved basket or not? Or did you just say, oh, they must have got it approved?
I just thought they must have got it approved, but that's exactly
that is the basket,
and
right?
that's the name. Craig Burrows Johnson. He was the first designer he was the first person to put a course in Alberta.
Okay.
I recognize the name. Yeah.
So, and he might have put that first course in Alberta a long time ago, because we know Rundle's been around since the 80s. But when you look at this basket that's been designed,
Yeah.
I think the year that it was approved was like 2010, maybe. There's a spot somewhere in there at the lower part.
Here we go. Yeah, approved in 2010.
Yeah. So he may have put the first disc golf course. If he did, it would have been Rundle. Because remember, there were those funnel baskets that they talked about before at Rundle, where it was that, yeah, and I think I've seen them in pictures.
Yeah.
But so this would have been not the first course, but maybe the first basket designed by someone in Alberta too.
Yeah.
So kind of neat with those. What do you think about those baskets? Speaking of that, so you're on these front 9 holes and you're going to throw in these trap baskets, these trap shots.
So I'm looking at the picture that I've got right now, and I want to say it doesn't matter about the basket. If the chains catch,
Right.
it's going to fall into the vessel no matter what it is, right? But I think the rim of the basket is something to, it's not. I know there's a term that I've heard thrown out there is called hitting the nubs.
Yeah.
When you've putted,
Yeah.
you might, it might not go into the basket because it hits the nubs, meaning just a little bit of the metal or the weld as it clamps over the top rim of the basket. These don't have that.
They do not.
It's all, and you've heard the term, "Oh, you toilet bowled that putt," where it goes in and it slides around the basket and comes out. Yeah, they do sound wrong as well. They do have a definite sound to them, but the top rim of the basket, it's so smooth. It's so, I don't know what it is. I can't say it's rounded because they're all round, but there's some reason, it's just some shape, some angle of the top rim is that your putts, if you don't hit the chains and drop it in, if you catch any edge of the basket, that putt's not going in.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And you know what it made me think about is almost like this was one of the original baskets, and it was like when you go to a park or something and there's curbs and stuff, and the skateboarders are allowed to go on the curbs, right? And they can skateboard the curbs.
Right.
But then all of a sudden they don't want that to happen anymore, so they put those like things in the middle of the curb so they can't go around. It's almost like we've done that with disc golf. It's like once we saw the rail slides that our discs were taking, screaming around these things, someone said we got to stop that and put those nubs on them there. Yeah. But that is definitely one thing that will, if you have a perfect putt or if you throw it in the chains, you're good. It's just when you try to do one of those approach putts and you catch it on the edge,
it does have 24
slide
chain.
around. Okay, 24.
Yeah, 12 out or 12
and some
in.
of them are up to 28, aren't they?
Yeah.
So, but it catches. I think it catches fine. But yeah, that's something that you're going to see on this course for sure.
Yeah. But only on the front 9.
Yeah.
When you get to the back 9, and we'll just talk about baskets here for a second, you're going to see some different baskets. You're going to see baskets that maybe you would expect to see on, a less well-maintained course.
Yeah, like they've been around a while. They've had some wear and tear on them. I
don't know what their plan or what their maintenance was for taking care of the chain of the baskets on the back 9. But whenever you putt into them, if you want to talk about the front 9 baskets don't sound right, when you hit the chains on the second 9, it sounds like they've been heavily sprayed with paint over and over again because they feel like they're plastic.
Oh,
like
right.
they don't sound like metal chains. It's almost a dull. It's almost like you've got your sound barrier on your basket so that the chains don't make a noise when you put it into there.
Yeah, there is that for sure. There's a few with that. What do you think? Like we've played out the first tournament of yours was out there was the Battle 6 tournament you played there. And then we played it as recent as the Get In, Get Out, Get Rated, which was one of the final tournaments that we competed in at the end of 2024.
Right.
Yeah. So we've played there a number of times. I looked on my UDisc and apparently my my recorded rounds is only 10. I thought it would have been more, but I've played 10 rounds there. So at least it's double digits.
Yeah, I don't know how many times you played there before I played with you, but I think that Battle 6 tournament, was that kind of one of the first times you got out?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in our practice for it beforehand.
Yeah, so you've played out there for the Battle 6, maybe 1 or 2 practice rounds.
We've
gone out there a couple times on our own and we've played a couple rounds, and then for the Get In, Get Out, Get Rated. So I could see it's not that many.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have said it would have been any more than that.
I think enough to review it because it's a complex enough course that you do want to play this one a few times.
Yeah.
Where some of those other other courses, you play them once or twice, you can review it. You
Yeah.
can review Jubilee after 3 plays, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at this course,
Mm-hmm.
if rather than go in a hole by hole, because we don't do that,
Right.
tell me what would be one of your favorite holes, one of your most memorable holes, and maybe one of your
Least favorite.
least favorite holes. Yeah, if you've got that.
Well, okay. Now you're putting me on the spot for one of my favorite.
Oh, you
holes.
can pick them in any order.
Yeah. I don't know, because I don't know if there's really one hole that stands out. The good thing about the course is it does have a good variety
Mhm.
of open holes. The 9, 10 spring to mind because they're quite wide open, especially 17 as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, 9, 17 and 10. But then you've got tight wooded holes like 3 and 4. You've got a long par. You know what? I actually don't mind the par 5.
Okay. So is
So
that your,
hole
what would you
5.
call that? Your favorite, your memorable, or, and it can be, the same hole can cover more than one of those
no,
things,
exactly.
right? So,
No, I think 5 would be my favorite hole
okay.
just because of the design of it. It's a dog leg left. You've
Mhm.
got to throw a good distance driver. You can throw a mid-range or a fairway driver just to get in position. But one thing you don't want to do is end up too far on the left because there is a Mando, I don't know, 300, 350 to the corner, but then you have to make a dog leg left to go to the basket, which is downhill.
Mhm.
So that's just a unique hole. There's so many holes that are straight ahead 300 or maybe a slight hyzer to the left or a slight forehand to the right. Like there's so many samey holes like that, but we don't play anything else similar to that length of par 5 and in that shape.
Well, and to give you an idea,
Yeah.
it's a par 5. It's at the red layout. So
Yeah.
at the closest layout, it's 702 feet.
Right.
So, and that's probably a third of that is to the corner. I don't know if it's quite half to the corner,
I would say it was
or
well
half
done.
to the corner and then half around it.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing that's kind of neat about that hole is that you've got to first get to the corner. That's a hard shot for us. Some of the longer arms like Dylan and Mark, they can get to the corner on that first shot and then they're around the Mando. But we're
Probably should say off the tee. It's not a tight fairway, but you do have trees that are narrow.
Oh yeah.
It does open up after probably 50 to 100 feet.
It does. And if you try to hang it out right, you're in the bush.
Yeah.
Like if you miss throw that way, and if you early release too much, you're in that little section of bush
Exactly.
as well. So that makes it a hard tee shot. And then for us as AMs, we're doing likely a layup to get just past the Mando pole, unless we really had a good rip. And now we're standing on top of a hole with a tunnel that goes downhill, but we're not going down that tunnel. We're trying to throw over top of the trees.
Yeah.
And if you're going out there, make sure you have a spotter with you on that hole, because the last thing you want to do is throw over those trees and end up in a area where there's some long grass, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite hole. What's your favorite hole?
Well, with this, I want to ask you one question.
Okay.
So it's a par 5. How many times have you got par 5 on that course? Out of the 10 times, assume we both played it 10 times. How many times have you gotten par?
I think I've parred it once.
And I'm going to say maybe me too.
Yeah.
And I might be only a bogey once.
How many times have you bogeyed or worst?
Oh, all the other 9. What do you think I know there's no 17 on this one. That's reserved for only one hole in Alberta for you.
Right.
But I think my highest it's 8 for sure. I've definitely taken a snowman.
Yeah.
I may have taken early on. I may have taken a 10 on this hole.
It's either an 8 or a 9.
Yeah.
Somewhere around that. Yeah. And it's easy to do that. Like you said, if you hyzer out too early, I mean, I guess in tournament play, there's an OB line there.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not playing tournament play, it's fine. But you still got the Mando pole to get around. So if you can miss the Mando, you can go over the trees.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, if you go over the trees and you don't make it and you end up just plinkoing down into the trees, you're not getting out there in 1 or 2 shots.
Nope.
And then where the basket is, it's kind of in a little secluded tree lined area as well with a tight gap to the basket with trees on the right and bushes. So there's a lot of places there that you can tie up your disc and you can be taking 2 shots just to get out back into the fairway again.
Yeah, it's for sure. It's a tough hole. Like if we were talking about hole 5, you said it's your favorite hole. I can see all the qualities that you're giving it as your favorite hole, but just on the ability that I play and what it does to me,
Mm-hmm.
it would be maybe the unique hole, I would call it. I don't want to say I don't want to say I don't like it, because I
Right.
do like the challenge of it.
Yeah.
No, it's not going to be my favorite hole.
Okay.
But I think I will
Well-
slot it in that middle ground where that's the memorable hole, or
Yeah.
the one that you should definitely when you leave, that hole's going to leave a mark on you one way or another,
Right.
in a good way or in a bad way.
While you think of your favorite hole,
Yep.
Mark in the chat says hole 6 is his favorite,
Hole
which would
6?
be the one after that, which would be the par
Oh.
4, where you can go over the trees to the right, land in the fairway, and then it goes into a narrow tunnel right down to the basket. So that's his. Dylan says hole 12,
Okay.
which is
Hole 12 is the one that
goes over the car park.
no, that would be 11.
10, no,
Oh, 10,
9,
11.
10. Oh, 11. So
Yeah.
12 would be back down.
Yeah,
where they
along the
made it.
side. The only thing about 12 that I don't like, Dylan, I think it's a good hole too, but that's one of the ones where you start, because there's a lot of sand in the Wetaskiwin area. So because they don't have a tee pad, you're
No.
teeing off from that slanted.
10 is the one from the car park.
Oh, no, 12 is across the car park.
Yeah, 12.
Yeah, oh, no, yeah, 12 is good. Yeah, 12 is good. I was thinking 13.
Right.
So yeah, 12 across the car park is pretty
Is
good.
the old car park. On the course, there's a part that's fenced or roped off. It used to be a car park. It's not a car park anymore, but it now plays as OB or hazard or whatever is if you're playing it.
Well, and I think the good thing about that one is it gives you multiple shots you could do. But this one, so you're going straight out. There is this OB on the left. There's a big spruce tree there, and you get an S curve going to the left and then coming back into a treed area. So for a player like us, going over that car park is tempting.
Yeah.
But it's not something we're going to hit every time. So we're kind of going straight out and trying to hyzer to the left around the spruce tree to give us a second shot. Whereas if you do have a good forehand, or you've got a nice straight long shot, you can throw it across that OB, take that challenge, get through past the spruce tree, and then maybe you're getting in there for that birdie.
Okay, so what's your favorite hole?
Favorite hole? I know this is going to sound really bland to some of the people who've been out there to play with Wetaskiwin, but I love hole 3, because hole 3 has one demand for you: throw a straight shot.
Right.
And I think there's something amazing about that. And in the summer, when the leaves are out there, it doesn't matter how sunny it is out that day, you're going to be in the shade, because the leaves are there, the trees are tall. I'm looking at the camera, and when they come over top there, you've got this straight down tunnel shot. Basket's on the right, not on the left, so you can't throw something that hyzers to the left, and you either throw it well or you don't. And to me, I could go out there and throw that shot.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking
times.
hole 4.
No,
hole
hole
3.
three.
Yeah, you're right.
And
Okay.
you're going slightly downhill,
Downhill.
so that gives you, if you do put it nose up, you are definitely going to end up fading left or right at some point.
Yeah.
So it's got to be a great shot, and you can do it with a forehand or you can throw it with a backhand. Either are available to you. So head down there and practice. It's a great hole for me. That's my favorite hole.
Yeah.
What about you? Memorable or worst hole? What are you going to do?
Well, my most memorable hole, I think, is probably hole 12.
Okay.
For that exact reason that you mentioned, is because I think I threw a perfect hole. I don't know I think it might have been in a practice round, or I don't know if it was actually in the tournament at Get Out, Get Rated that we played.
Yeah.
But I did throw, I think it was my Thunderbird that I threw straight ahead down the fairway, and it kind of skipped left. So I made the corner, and it just got around those, just to the right-hand side of the parking lot that we're mentioning there.
Yeah.
And then I took my AVR X3,
Okay.
which is a little bit understable for me. I threw it, and it faded to the right, or turned to the right into that gap that you were talking about, and then leveled up, and then parked itself under the basket. And I took the par, which for us,
a par on that hole is huge.
That's oh, then again, having said that, another hole I had to look for a birdie on a very tough hole, but I didn't convert. But I don't necessarily like that, because I've only done that once. So that would be my most memorable hole, I think, out there. Yeah. What about you?
Well, yeah, so my memorable was 5, right?
Yeah.
And then so the hole that I would like the least. Now, this doesn't mean it's a bad hole. This is just my experience on it, and I need to work on it. Is I'm going to say, and it might surprise you, is going to be hole 11. And what my problem with hole 11 is,
You've never had a good time with hole 11.
I've never had a good time with it. Even when I get a good drive on this hole, my upshot's not that good. So what you have is a shot that's significantly uphill. And because there's tee markers and not tee pads, you're on the dirt and the dirt is on an angle. So you're teeing uphill on an angle. You've got lots of space. You can go right or left, but they mow the grass down the middle. And when you go left and you start fading, you can get all the way, like, so far, about as far away from the basket as you were to start with, because you went that far left. And if you go right, you're in the long grass trying to find it. The times that I do make it onto the fairway, now you're going to the basket, and the basket right behind it has a drop of death that goes down to a fence line, and the fence line is OB. So a lot of times I get my first shot, and if it's good, then my second shot, I end up grip locking it in fear of going over the edge of the basket, and I'm off in some spruce trees. So as much as it is a good hole, it's my least favorite hole on the course.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been with you multiple times where
Finding my disc.
I've been told when you're throwing uphill, throw understable because you're going uphill. The tendency is when you're throwing up, the disc is going to slow down and it's going to hyzer early.
Okay.
So what you want is an understable disc so that it rides that understability longer, and hopefully that it kind of levels out and goes straight and then sits down in the fairway.
Yeah.
I don't know what overstable discs you've been throwing. Because like you said,
You mean I should be throwing a Firebird on that one?
My least favorite hole, I think, would be I'm going to say it's 14.
14, okay.
Which is the other S. That's the other.
Oh, I know why. Yeah, exactly.
Off the tee from the reds, I think you've got a bit of a look out. You can kind of make it down to the corner.
I'm going to have to cut you for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say it's actually hole 15.
Is it 15?
Yeah, 15. 16 is the straight up shot for the ace run. 17 is coming back
15,
the other way.
15,
yeah,
sorry.
15. Yeah.
15, yeah.
Okay.
Reds, you can kind of, there's a gap that you can see the fairway, and if you throw something, you can get it to land where you want it to land. From the whites, you can still go down the fairway, but what the kind of the gap that you're aiming for is there's a gap on the right-hand side. There's a section of trees that are kind of broken a little bit. You can throw something out there with the intent that it's going to fade back and land somewhere in the fairway, hopefully getting to the corner.
Yes.
Or the kind of the cutout. It's not really a fairway. It's kind of a grass cut line at the end of the kind of off the fairway there. That's where you're aiming for. You don't want to go too long into the trees, but anywhere around there is good. I don't know what it would be like to play from the blues because I've never done it.
Yeah.
But that hole, I've lost it. I never lost a disc, but I've been
searching for
a long time.
Well, when you think of that one, now we just said how much we like 12, and 12 has this straight out left and then right.
Yeah.
And that hole has it as well, but it just seems like there's so much more trouble on the left.
Longer.
It goes downhill. And yeah, like looking here from the reds, it's 358 feet, which on the surface, we kind of had this conversation when we were talking to Kat about the course on Koh Samui, is that if it's a difficult hole, a short distance doesn't matter, right? And so 358 feet, we should be getting close enough that we could probably have a throw-in on a normal straight open hole.
Yeah, exactly.
But on this hole, when was the last time your first shot you were throwing in for bird?
Well, like I said, I've only done it once.
Yeah.
Oh no, because it's a par 4.
Oh, it is a par 4. Yes.
Yeah. Because it's a par 4, and you, like you said, a 358 par 4. Like surely you're eagling that. No. The amount of times that I've turned over the disc and gone away from the corner because it's like you said, it goes straight, then it goes left. You're aiming for that gap, and the wind will catch it, or it'll just turn over, and or you'll go straight out into the long grass, or even sometimes they've even gone long into the trees, straight out there.
Yeah.
But to get the landing area that I want is hard. So that's my line. I know you tend to prefer to straight down.
Well, no, I'll hyzer around that spruce tree.
You have done that as well?
Yeah. It depends on reds or whites, right? So
depending on where you land, then you've got to negotiate. Because then on that bend, the fairway narrows in. You get into some tight trees, into this wooded area. And even then, it's a little bit of a snake.
Yes.
And the basket's tucked away on the right-hand side. So if then on your second shot, if you hyzer it a little bit. If it comes out early, if it goes late, you're going into these trees, and it's really bad if you go into the trees on the left because you've got no look at the basket, and then you're just trying to pitch out onto the fairway again.
Right.
Or you're trying to do some ridiculous shot, which I normally tend to do, to try and skip on the fairway and get up the fairway as far as I can. So I try and save some distance, which then ends up going too long, and I go to the trees on the other side. Then I'm pitching out, trying to do a forehand to skip around to the basket. Then I go too straight, and I'm on the trees behind the basket, and it's just
It never ends.
yeah. But I think once in the get in, get out rated, I hit the line, I landed in the fairway, and I threw this amazing shot that I don't even know how I did it or what. I don't even think it was a forehand. I don't know what it was, but it just rode the line, and I was putting for a birdie. I missed the putt, and I think I tapped in for par, or I might have even missed that, and then tapped in for a bogey. I'm not sure, but
well, it does sound like you have some very distinct memories of that hole. Now.
Not a very nice hole for me.
So that's your least favorite.
What about you?
Yeah, my least favorite was that one going uphill, right? So that covers that.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
do we get some comments in there too? I think we had some from the listeners.
Yeah.
Anything you want to throw?
So at that get in, get out, get rated, and I think I played with Mark and Terry Hong
for the first
round, and I think you started on hole 18 because as we were on, or I don't know what hole you started on, but as it got to when we were on hole 10, you were on hole 18, and you know that hole, you throw your tee shot. All you want to do is you don't want to go too straight. You want it to kind of fade around the corner a little bit. Mark in the chat threw, not sure what he would have been throwing, but he was about 90 feet from the basket where he landed.
Yeah.
And he said he stepped up with his Eagle Envy and got a 90-foot throw in for birdie.
Oh, my.
And I think you were there, and I had a pretty good shot to get where I was. And I think I don't even know what happened. All I remember is I was going to take a shot, and then Mark just threw it in, and yeah, it was an amazing shot from so far away, right into the basket.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That's his.
And you got to be on the card with him for that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, what was the parking lot? 15 is what we were talking about.
Yeah.
And Mark said it's a great hole with 0 forehand.
Oh. There you go. Well, the other thing too, before we kind of wrap it up and get into the rating of it, and
one thing I will say,
go ahead.
Just to reiterate, it's not a great course to play in the spring or in the fall.
Yeah,
because it is a very waterlogged. It can be a waterlogged hole, so especially when the snow is melting.
Oh yes.
On the back side of the property, I believe it.
Hole 5 and hole 6 and hole 7.
Yeah,
and hole 8.
Well,
all of those ones around that little back corner get flooded.
Oh yeah, okay. I'll give you 8. I wouldn't say 8, but mainly along that back fence line. There's ruts there. You're going to be treading through water, so make sure you're wearing waterproof shoes. People
are really going to wonder what we're going to say about this course. But on top of that, too, the other thing as well is that in the summer there's a lot of garter snakes. Now they're garter snakes. Yeah. Don't worry about that. But if you go into the long grass looking for your disc and you see something move, chances are it's a garter snake.
If you have a snake.
If you've got an Indiana Jones complex, then
don't go out there.
Or a Colleen McInnes complex as well. Right. So that would be it. Now, I think that's kind of gives us a bit about that course. It does usually have like a porta potty or something. It's got a washroom around there. It's got a picnic area.
Yeah.
So in a covered picnic area. So that's good. Food is relatively close by if you're going there to play for the day because you did drive a half hour at a time.
Tourism Wetaskiwin?
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to say, I'm setting up like all the stuff about the course. There is.
House prices are pretty reasonable.
Yeah, there's a few things like that. On top of that, with 403 ratings on UDisc, it is rated at 4.2 right now.
Yeah.
So that's that. With all of that said, let's get to what everybody has hopefully been hanging on, except for Sam, who unsubscribed and left a long time ago, of where we rank this one. And I think it's only fair because I brought the course reviews back that I let you be the first to rate it.
I thought you were going to say, because you brought it, it's only fair for you to go first.
No, I thought you could go first. So I have it here again, just to recap while you're thinking about it. You currently have Bailey's in number 1. We'll only go for the top 5 here. Yes, Sam, that is another part for my tourism bid.
All together. 1, 2, 3.
Cars cost less than Wetaskiwin. Not a sponsor. So yeah, you've got Bailey's number 1, you got Hermitage number 2, Rundle number 3, Niska number 4, and Langholm number 5. I'm making a bold assumption
Yeah.
that with the Hills, Jubilee, and Nor'Wester in the next spots, that we're really looking at your top 5. And is it going to crack your top 5?
You are correct. It is going to make the top 5. It's just which course is going to drop out.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing.
Well,
That
Langholm
has
is
to
going
be.
to drop out.
Yeah.
It's just
Langholm's
where
gonna
you're
drop
going to
out.
sit this one in.
It's interesting. So, and I think because while building my little profile thing or my little buffer video that we talked about earlier, there was a bit where we were talking about reviewing courses. Now, we're not talking about distance to get to the course. We're not talking about things like that. It's if you were dropped on the course, would you like to play that course?
Yeah. Where would that rank if this was one of, in this case, I guess the way we could look at it, if this is one of the 5 courses, first question would be, if this is one of the 5 courses you could play of the ones we reviewed so far, would you play this course? Would it fit? And that's how the boys got their first cease and desist. Sam is
Sam.
so witty. I love it, Sam.
Yeah. So if I was just dropped on the course, would I want to play this one or would I want to play one of those 5?
Yeah, exactly. You show up. What would you do?
Okay, well, let's put it this way. Wetaskiwin. I would rather play it than Langholm.
Okay, so it's going to at least 5.
Yeah. Would I rather play Wetaskiwin than Niska? Yes, I would rather play Wetaskiwin than Niska.
Whoa, it's creeping up to your 4th spot.
It is. Would I rather play Wetaskiwin than Rundle? Wetaskiwin than Rundle. I think for the variation in holes, unique holes, yes, I think I would rather play Wetaskiwin than Rundle.
Wow, this is just building. We are now in 3rd place on your list.
Would I rather play it than Hermitage? I do like Hermitage. And you have Hermitage down at number 4 on your list. And maybe, the fact that maybe we need to revisit this list because this was done a few years or a while ago, obviously 7 months ago. Would I rather play it more than Hermitage? Yes, I would rather play it more than Hermitage.
Wow, we're up to 2nd place. Wetaskiwin is going to sit there.
This is it. Would I rather play Wetaskiwin or Bailey's?
Okay.
I would say...
Drum roll.
No.
Oh, okay.
It's going to slot in at my number 2 spot. I think Bailey's, just only from the fact that it's more manicured. It's more well looked after. It's maintained. It's obviously a private course, so it's going to be. Mark put an interesting question. Would you rather be under par at Hermitage or over par at Wetaskiwin?
Well, I don't
think the score comes into consideration. It's how much enjoyment I get.
But it's a good question because that will impact people's decision.
But I mean,
because do you have more fun when you shoot under par than when you shoot over par? Because some people might.
Yeah, but then if that was the case, I would put the Hills at number 1 because I think I've got a better chance of being -9 or -10 or -15 at the Hills than I have at Hermitage. So scoring wise, I don't think that really counts. But with the fact that Bailey's is more manicured, it's more looked after because it's a private course. It has tee pads. It's got the mix of the wooded and the open, or a few more open holes.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit more elevation change. I would rather play Bailey's, but Wetaskiwin would be a close second out of my list. So
I think you did a good analysis there.
Yeah, thank you. Bailey's, Wetaskiwin, Hermitage, Rundle, Niska is my top 5.
Okay. Well, I'm going to put that into our little sheet here. So 7.5 months from now, when we do the next one,
yeah, we'll set a timer.
We'll be all set.
Sam said it's a good course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because as we were talking about it, there are so many things that maybe it sounded like we were talking that we didn't like about the course.
Right.
Because there are a lot of things that could be improved, and that is something about it. But when you have a well-designed course, it can make up for a lot of those flaws, is what I think. Right? Because you could say the Hills, when the Hills was developed, it's got brand new baskets. It's got 2 concrete tee pads. It's got all of this elevation, but it's short, and it is what it is. So you can't make up for that lack of distance or that lack of challenge that the course offers, right?
Yeah. And that's a good point, because now thinking about it, Hermitage has 2 tee pads.
Mm-hmm.
It has great baskets. It has signage.
Yeah.
Wetaskiwin doesn't have tee pads. It doesn't have great baskets. But yeah, I would still rather play there
than Hermitage.
And
it's not knocking
Hermitage,
Hermitage, because
no.
Hermitage is on your list. It's in number 3, and it is a great course. Like
I
right now we
playing
go
it.
out there all the time.
Yeah,
because we do like that course.
And I think that is partly why Hermitage is over Rundle, is because of what Mark said. I do like it because I can score well on that course. I can feel like, okay, I had a good round. So
okay. So with my list, just to give you a recap, I'm sitting with Bailey's in 1, Niska in 2, Rundle in 3, Hermitage in 4, and Langholm in 5. And that was one of the reasons I wanted you to go first, because you get to say all these things, and I might just have to, I don't know how much new I'm going to be able to add.
Okay.
But one of the things everyone will know about me is that Langholm's my home course. I really like that. It's a 9-hole. It's going to get tee pads great, but that doesn't have tee pads today, and that's what we're doing. And I do like the variety of shots there. But if you're going to say, Jeremy, do you want to go out and play Wetaskiwin, play 18 holes with all of these different shots, or do you want to play your 9 holes at Langholm? Wetaskiwin's going to step up over Langholm in that case.
Okay, so it's at least number 5.
At least number 5. So Langholm, I love you, and I will always go play you, but you are no longer in my top 5 courses.
Hit the road.
Hit the road, Jack. Yeah.
Okay.
We won't sing that one because we've already got enough cease and desist right
exactly.
now. So then we move on to Hermitage. Hermitage, love it. 2 tee pads, like you said. Great baskets. The veteran baskets, love them, hate them, whatever you want to do. Interesting shots, Wally's way, all of that stuff. But for the most part, it is fairly open. It's a park course, and it's an open park course. So Wetaskiwin's given more challenge than that. And I want that challenge. I want that narrow tee shot, not just Wally's way, which would be like almost my nemesis compared to hole number 3, which I'm saying I like.
Yeah.
But I'd rather go, and I'd rather go throw Wetaskiwin than throw Wally's way some days because of the way it punishes me. So boom, going to number 4.
Wow.
Rundle. You've been around for years and years. You have a lot going for you. You've got 2 tee position or pin positions. Rundle, you're fun, but you just don't give that same challenge. It's not going to be there. Wetaskiwin, you're moving up to number 3.
It's into the top 3.
And now we're at Niska. Now, Niska, if you guys know me well enough and have heard me in those old days, I've got a real soft spot for Niska. I like that course. I think there's a lot of potential. And that's kind of even the same thing as we're talking about with Wetaskiwin, is that it doesn't have a lot of the things that you want there, but it could. You can go and put tee pads in there. You can pull those baskets out and change them and totally add value to that course. So that I keep that in mind. I'm like, can you easily make this course better and that type of thing?
I don't think you work on potential.
No, I'm not saying that's, but I like in my mind when I want to play it over and over again.
Right.
I'm at least saying why are the reasons that I like this course, and that probably says that those things, if it's only because of the tee pads, then do I really like that course? Right. So that type of thing. So I would say with Niska, this is really hard for me, Daryl, because I do like Niska, but I'm thinking about it. Wetaskiwin's going above Niska.
Oh, it's into the top 2.
It is into the top 2. And then as we get to Bailey's has, like we talked about, like I just said, potential for Wetaskiwin. Bailey's has a lot of these same, not the same shots, but the same challenge of shots, right? Like, so if you need a tunnel shot, you get to hole 5, hole 13, or hole 6 at Bailey's. Those are all tunnel shots. So you're getting that hole 3, hole 4 feeling from there. You want a downhill shot, Bailey's has got it. You want an uphill shot, they've got it. So as much as Wetaskiwin and Bailey's have the same, I can't let Wetaskiwin get ahead of Bailey's at this time. So we're getting very close to the same thing. Wetaskiwin is going to be my second.
Yeah. So let's just have a look at our number 1. So we've both got Bailey's at number 1.
Mm-hmm.
We both have Wetaskiwin at number 2.
Mm-hmm.
I have Hermitage at number 3.
Yep.
What do you have at number 3?
Niska.
I have Rundle at number 4.
I have Rundle at number 4.
And I have Niska at number 5.
And I have Hermitage. So that does say something too. We have the same top 5, but with 3 and 5 in opposite orders. Now, I'd be interested to Mark, Dylan, Sam, anyone out there, out of those 5 that we have, Bailey's, Wetaskiwin, Hermitage, Rundle, and Niska, what order would you put them in? How far off are you from where we are?
Yeah.
Do you feel bad about where your list is? Like, knowing now,
I think,
would you change anything?
yeah, and this is the thing, because I don't know. Well, obviously we did this 7.5 months ago. I don't know what date that was, but one thing to remember is that we played Rundle in the Rundle League every Thursday for the whole summer.
Yes,
26 weeks, I think we did.
we got it.
Probably a few more with practice rounds and everything else that we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
There could be a little bit of Rundle burnout that may have affected.
That's fair.
Yeah, we played it so much. I mean, you had it higher than Hermitage. I think I liked Hermitage better because it was a bit more of a, oh, I haven't played this in a while. It's like a, oh, now they've got T-pads. Oh, this just took this to the next level sort of thing.
Gotcha.
I still stand by 2 T-pads is better than the 1 T-pad at Rundle.
Right.
It would be nice to have a lot of the basket positions fixed at Hermitage. There's 2 or 3
that have been hit
by the lawnmower so that they can't be moved. It'd be nice to play those in different positions. It seems like we've played that lane. I mean, obviously because it's winter, you can't move the baskets. It'd be nice to get back in the spring again, and hopefully Brock gets loosens the keys from around his belt, goes out there and puts some baskets in new positions when he can.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be nice to play a different
layout.
different layout. Dylan says Rundle burnout is for real.
Yeah.
Mark has his top 5.
What's Mark's top 5?
Mark says, oh, he's even being specific. I mean, no, you can't do that, Mark. You have to pick a course. He's saying Bailey's number 1, Wetaskiwin number 2, Hermitage Blues number 3,
and then
Rundle number 4, and then Hermitage Reds
you
number
can't
5.
give Mark a hard time, because if there's an angle on any of these, he's going to find it.
Exactly. He's never just going to give you a straight answer. Dylan mentions also that both courses need a basket refresh. Yeah, it's par for the course. The environment that we live in, that winter comes, we're stuck in wherever they are.
And also too, but even a refresh in the fact that, for Rundle, I would say that's for sure. But I think also too, we know that Niska needs new baskets. We just talked about Wetaskiwin needing baskets. So maybe they need a new refresh for their positions there, but we also just need replacement baskets for some of these too.
Okay, so Mark's updated it. He says Bailey's, Wetaskiwin, Hermitage Blues, Rundle, and then Niska.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I think I love talking about these. I don't know how much everyone would love listening, but I hope that if someone is listening to this, they're getting a little more information. And then I think our next step to these is to do another one of those Rundle walkthroughs, right?
Yeah.
Because I think really what we found was we've done that Rundle walkthrough. We were at the Tundra Toss tournament. I was talking to a guy who came up from Red Deer or that area and had never played Rundle before. And guess what he did? He went to YouTube. He found our video and he watched it, and that's exactly what we wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And whether he's being kind or not, he liked it and he found it useful. He recognized me because of that. So
right.
Yeah.
It's the celebrity status that you are. No, exactly. And we did do a walkthrough. I don't know if I've actually told you this yet or not.
Oh, okay.
We did we did a similar walkthrough for Hermitage.
Right.
We might need to do it again.
I was going to say, I thought maybe we did. What was the reason that you say we needed to?
I think it's somewhere the footage for hole 1 and there's 2 holes that I don't have any footage for.
Oh, okay. I know the other thing was if anybody's created some content, and especially something that's as long as that, you know how long a disc golf round normally takes. When you're going to do content and you're going to record, it takes even longer. And I think I could tell you, I didn't know if you were going to say, well, hole 1 seemed really cheery, Jeremy, and hole 18, you were mailing it in, because I know it was a tougher day that day, but
it was cold. We started, it was like, because we were excited. It was springtime, like it was
fall. I think it was still.
Was it into the fall? I thought
we
did it.
It was like September.
Oh, okay. It must have been the other way then. But I know it was getting close. It was getting cold.
Mm-hmm.
Just to go back to, so yeah, we need to do that again. But I think, yeah, definitely this year
we'll
we
get
need
a
to
few
plan
more.
a bit more. We'll do a couple more walkthroughs and
And then we could
I'll
really give
be
a feel.
editing on me. It's okay. I got nothing else to do.
Well, if you got all the time to work for
Wrong one.
Brian Earhart and Brody Smith, I'm sure you can
I'm
squeeze a
surprised.
couple
I'm
minutes in.
surprised you didn't offer my editing skills to Kat.
I was about there.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking it, but I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Dylan's got his top 5 in. He says
Bailey's.
Camrose was okay. If this is your,
Yeah, it's his top 5.
I thought it was the top
We did
5
ask
out of.
about ours, but
Oh, okay. I thought they had to include Wetaskiwin in their top. I thought it was out of our top 5.
it was.
How do they put it? So,
It's okay. Dylan just took an angle.
that's okay. Okay, Dylan's fine. Dylan says Bailey's, Hermitage, Rundle, Niska, and he threw in a little cheeky curveball by saying Camrose. I'm giving Mark crap for going off script and going Hermitage, Reds, and Blues.
Well, just wait till you get Sam's. Belize, Austin.
Yeah. Yeah, and exactly that. Mark said that's his local top 5. His real top 5 doesn't include anything in Alberta. But he hasn't been to Falcons Flight yet, so that might take a spot.
Yeah, well, with Falcons Flight, that'll be interesting for you, Mark, when you get to that one, because I really enjoyed it. I think the one thing, and we talked about this when we were talking about the tournament, is that it gets hyped up quite a bit.
Mhm.
So you have to be cautious just not to let it get overhyped, because it is
Too much
fantastic. But if
expectations.
you put your expectations too high, it is still a disc golf course at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right. So I think the only time you can put one that high might be like on Eagles Crossing or Blue Ribbon Pines.
Mhm.
Some of those ones there where they have been manicured, like
Great.
they are fully done.
Yeah. So I think Sam put a sad face emoji. Oh, sorry. He says, "Fine, replace Camrose for Wetaskiwin." It doesn't say that, but that's the voice I'm.
Yeah, you're
I'm
reading into it.
Reading into it. Yeah.
I thought it would be like, fine, replace Wetaskiwin with Camrose. You would have done it in that voice, or Camrose with Wetaskiwin.
It's not on our list, but this is another course that we need to get out to review.
Oh, yeah.
Dog Rump. I mean, obviously, when we started this
7.5 months ago when we did our last review,
that course wasn't around.
Yeah, so we'll do that for sure.
That.
But yeah, and then Daryl, I had some other things that we could talk about, but we were running at 10:30 now, so I think we've gotten more than enough
Anything that we can do quickly or no?
No, not on this one. So
fair enough. I believe you.
But yeah, no, I'm thinking about that. So why don't we go back to Wetaskiwin? And are we doing this, or are we going to do some crazy, weird new one?
Maybe we need to put this out to our listeners. Like,
okay, well, let's give. I'm gonna.
Well, no, I think we should decide it because
I'm gonna give one for you guys tonight. So we usually, we'll do our chain out, and if we had a guest on, we'll get them to chain out. That's kind of the changing around the basket there.
Right.
But I think what we want to do is something a little different for this one. I'm going to get myself laughing. But what we're going to say is we're going to say, we love it. We don't want you to chain out if you don't have to chain out. We chain out for you. We'll take care of that. But one of the things that we want to do is we want to see you on the course. We want to see you at the tee pad. We want to see you at the fairway, probably in the OB, also in the trees. But if we don't see you in any of those places on the course, the one place that we will see you is around the basket.